welcome to Mondays with Mom, the podcast where my mom, Leah,
Hi.
and I, Jo, dive into her stories, experiences, and the lessons she's hoping I finally take to heart. My mom has always dreamed of turning her life into a book or a movie, and this podcast is our way of making that dream come true, and we have a fun time doing it.
Thanks, Joey.
So, Mom, how are things going?
Things are always interesting, as you know.
Uh-huh.
Today, I was actually thinking back to the flight we took together in the States.
Yes.
That really
Horrible,
terrifying flight we were on.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how terrifying it was for you because you were otherwise engaged or occupied.
You don't need to, you can mind your business.
Well, it was very difficult because we were across the aisle and kind of close. So
I think you could focus on you and the turbulence instead of what I'm doing.
Well, maybe we should fill people in.
Yeah, let's fill people in.
So Jo and I and George.
Yeah, and George.
We're on a flight together. George and I were sitting together on the one side, and Jo was sitting across from us on the other side. And we always have these issues as to who's going to sit next to the stranger.
Yeah.
And we decided, listen, Jo, we've taken you on holiday. You're going to sit next to the stranger.
You have to sit next to the stranger.
So Jo sat next to the stranger, who turned out to be a tall, dark, and handsome stranger. Now, look, listen to the giggling. Well, that giggling was going on for most of the flight.
I wasn't that bad.
Well, I don't know. She was literally perfecting her flirting technique. She had it down to like a fine art. Even I was impressed. I was like trying not to listen because I thought maybe I'll pick up some tips from Jo.
You're just having a good conversation.
She was having a good conversation until the turbulence hit.
Guys. Oh, yeah.
Now,
don't remind me.
Yes. And George is one of these people, he's watched enough aircraft investigations to actually be calm most of the time.
Oh, not us.
No, and I could see even George was scared.
It was scary. It was like I've never felt a plane rock so much in my life. I've had bad turbulence, but this was one of the worst.
Yeah, I think I've had probably worse, but this was definitely right up there. I mean, probably my fault because my seatbelt was on, but it wasn't like snug that I couldn't breathe like I was on a roller coaster ride. But suddenly, so it was it left a tiny little bit of space between my seatbelt and my body. And suddenly I was on a roller coaster ride because I could actually just feel the seat leaving my bum.
I felt that too.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
It felt like you were on Tower of Terror.
It felt exactly like Tower of Terror.
Like that drop, that ride
that
just
if
dropped.
you can't make it to Disney, don't worry. Come take a flight on United Airlines.
Don't it's not like they're general flying.
No, it wasn't. They were actually, as an airline, they were really, really good.
I think it was just the one trip. I thought.
Do we need to delete that?
No.
Are we going to get sued?
No.
Okay.
We're not saying anything bad about the airline.
The airline was actually brilliant, and most of our flights that we took with them were actually very good.
Yeah, so if they want to sponsor us, we're leaving that open at least.
Anyway, there was a lot of turbulence on this flight. We obviously went through a storm, and the turbulence was quite hectic enough that I picked up my phone and I was contemplating now. I thought to myself, now, what do I do? First, it went through my head.
Yeah, they had Wi-Fi on the plane.
They had Wi-Fi on the plane. Again, thank you, United. That was
that was fun.
And I kind of picked up my phone, and I decided that, listen, what do I do? First thing I did, just to keep things going nicely, is I sent a message to Tina quickly saying, Tina, I love you.
And my sister?
Yes, with no context.
Yeah, she didn't tell me she loves me on the plane.
Well, I was worried that you might be telling someone else that you love them on the plane. So I was not wanting to interfere with you there.
You're flirting accusations.
So I sent Tina a message, and then I'm busy contemplating while my bum is leaving the seat and while I'm midair, I'm contemplating, do I quickly send Tina all my bank codes? And I think we had lost signal, Jo.
Yeah.
Actually, during the turbulence.
Really?
And I kept thinking, yes, if I leave my phone on, I quickly took it off airplane mode. So I thought, if and when we do hit the ground, then my phone will find, if and when, my phone will get signal again, and Tina will know that I love her, plus the bank codes. Then I thought, oh, my word, my dad. Should I now start SMSing his helper a list of his medication that she can get in case something happens to me? But I mean, it's quite a list. So by the time I got through the list, the turbulence had stopped and we were kind of...
And I'm laughing while you're saying this, but at the time I was gripping my seat with like my knuckles must have been white. I was thinking, oh my god, like what's happening? I must be calm. I have to be calm because what?
I have to be calm because what's the guy that I'm flirting with gonna think?
No, I was not flirting. We were just talking, and I was not. I don't care what anyone thinks of me
Well,
in
your
that situation.
Yeah, Cleo.
Yeah.
Feels that talking to a guy, if you giggle at any point, or if your hand touches any part of your hair, that's immediately flirting. If you shift your legs and bend your knee, that's flirting. That's it. No other explanation.
Well, there was no actual flirting. It was just talking, but it
Touching
was.
hair?
I was not touching hair. Unless my hair was frizzy, so I was trying to make my hair look normal because I'd been wearing a cowboy hat because we were in the US, and I took it off on the plane so I could sit more comfortably, and I think my hair looked a bit disastrous underneath it, so I was trying to smooth it out.
Well, your aunt would classify that as flirting. Smoothing out hair is flirting. Anytime you touch hair, it's flirting. If you touch hair or any other part of your body, and if you laugh at anything, no matter how funny the person is that you're talking to, you need to keep a straight face.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's flirting.
Thank goodness, though, there was just a little bit of turbulence, and it didn't end in disaster.
No, it felt really, really bad.
But I think that definitely is a good topic.
Absolutely, and it reminded me of a few airplane stories that I thought I'd like to share. The first one, maybe I should lead with that, is when I was on a flight, because we were actually on quite a small airplane.
Yeah, we were. It was quite small.
Must have been about a 60-seater, I think.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
And the last time I was on an airplane like that, I was with my parents and my sister. And this airplane was a little bit scarier. It was, no, I'm not going to, let me go for a second sponsorship. It was on Turkish Airlines this time.
Yeah.
And we were flying, it was again an internal flight.
Mm-hmm.
And what started happening in the beginning, which, I mean, I was the youngest and I thought this was quite cool, is that while we were flying straight originally, and my sister and I were on the one side in two seats, and my parents were on the other side, at some point, my parents were below me.
Oh.
And then the airplane would turn to the other side, and my parents were above me.
Oh, my word.
And I was kind of watching my mom, who her first thing she did is she popped a few tranquilizers. I could see her doing that.
I think I would do the same.
And then
I would not want to be in that plane. I would do anything, like, even in my mind, to just be free of that situation.
Yeah, well, then my mom actually was starting to write her will with my dad. And I kept thinking, well, who's that going to help? Because we're all going to die. We're all in the same airplane. So that's not going to help anyone. And then what happened, which was the funniest thing ever, is because people were starting to kind of make noise.
Yeah.
People were like kind of starting to ooh and ah and
scream.
Oh, my word. And like small little screams of
terror.
Fear and terror. Thank you. The air hostess unbuckled herself and came down the aisle and decided that she needs to, it's her job to calm us down.
Yeah.
So she stood there and said, please, guys, everything's okay. I don't want anyone to panic. And as she said it, turbulence hit and she literally fell. She dropped to the floor between us where we were.
Where were we sitting? Near the front, I'm guessing.
We were kind of near the middle.
Oh, near the middle. So she walked all the way to the middle.
She walked to the middle, was telling everyone, stay calm. I'm trying to think.
Was there a storm?
I'm trying to think. There could have been two options. Like, I mean, my memory, whether she threw up first and then fainted, or no. I think she threw up when she came to.
That poor air hostess.
The poor air hostess. But the best is that this got my mom out of writing her will, and she was scrambling frantically in her handbag because my mom always used to carry perfume with us. For perfume, unbuckles her seatbelt.
Oh, no.
Amidst this plane going up and down and round to get out her perfume and put it under the woman's nose like they used to do in the old days, like the smelling salts to revive her.
Did it work?
I think so. Then I think the woman threw up, if I'm not mistaken. So it was like really scary for us.
Did the captain say anything? Do you remember anything?
I don't remember that. I think we were all in such a state trying to revive this air hostess. And I don't think I was doing any reviving. I was just watching
you were just watching in horror.
In absolute horror.
Oh, that's before the days when anyone could record anything.
Yeah, exactly. There were no cell phones. There were no cell phones at all, so no one could record anything.
Yeah, so you have to believe you.
That reminded me of another flight I was on. So we used to fly the minute school. I went to a Greek school, and in Johannesburg, and the minute school would break up that day, we used to call the airplane Saheti Express because everyone that went to the school that vaguely had any Greek genes in them were on the first flight leaving South Africa.
To go back to Greece.
To go to Greece on holiday. And I had a close friend of mine whose parents were really wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I always used to feel like a bit of the pleb because I used to sit in the regular airplane seats.
Yeah, economy.
In economy. And I used to like moan at my parents because they would say in those days, believe it or not, Jo, airplane flights were all smoking flights.
That's crazy that was a thing.
And what was even crazier is the seats would be labeled in rows, row A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yes.
And it would go up to, for example, J and be smoking. And from K onwards, it was non-smoking.
But like, how would that make a difference?
How would that make a difference? That smoke was circulating right round. And my parents, because my sister and I would be bitterly complaining about the smoking.
Open flames, basically, of people lighting their cigarettes.
Open flames, and you couldn't see anything. It was like you were in some kind of a weird poker game. There was this smoky haze around. Now, maybe it was a good thing that you couldn't see that clearly, because the other thing that Olympic Airways used to do, which used to absolutely kill me, is in the old days, let's call them that, since I revealed my age on an earlier podcast. In the old days, what they did is that you didn't have an individual TV screen behind your seat.
Yeah.
What you did was there was not one.
Well,
for a couple of rows of seats, for like a bunch of seats at a time, there'd be one big screen, one in the middle and one on each side.
They still on the smaller planes are a bit older, they still have that. Like I've been on planes where like they've had like central TV screens and you've had nothing else to entertain yourself with.
So that's what we were watching. And what we would do is you were still given headphones.
Uh-huh.
And the headphones looked quite a bit like stethoscopes. They were like this thick tube of rubber that you would plug in and these giant things that would go into your ears. So everyone looked like they were a doctor.
Yeah.
There's a doctor on the plane and like everyone would rush up.
Yeah.
And we were all watching these movies and what Olympic Airways deemed fit. And I remember in those days, I was like 9 and 10. And 8 years old.
I know, let me guess. Some horrifying movie.
The actual movies were called Airport, and then there was a year after it, like Airport 87 or Airport 76 or Airport 79. And I don't know if you can look it up, Jo, and just see if such a thing still exists.
I've looked it up. I found the Wikipedia for the film series.
Is there some kind of description of what we were forced to watch?
Well, I'll give you the real brief description.
Of which one?
Of all of them, and then I'll just go into a specific one.
Do they all have a brief? Okay.
Well, the brief of basically what it's about, where they say Airport is a 1970s film series consisting of 4 airplane-themed disaster films, and they have a bunch, and they're based on a 1968 novel.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go to the IMDb of Airport 77, which I've got pulled up here. Okay. And I'll just read the synopsis for that.
Bring back memories. Come, I want my PTSD.
So, okay, there's a whole storyline. I'm not going to read the storyline. I'll just read what it's about. It says that art thieves hijack a 747, hit fog, and crash into the ocean, trapping them and the passengers under 100 feet of water.
Okay, well, now just to interrupt you there, Jo, all the airplanes we were on were 747s. They were Boeing 747s. So we're now exactly the same airplane. And then just on the side, before you give me another description of what else was going on in those, I'll let you know. I don't know if anyone remembers. There was an Olympic Airways flight in 1978 that was flying back from the States to Greece. And there was some kind of human error. And those planes were quite big. There were like 400 and something people on board. Mm-hmm. And at the last minute, they managed to land this plane in Athens airport without killing anyone. But it kind of made news headlines worldwide. And this was at the same time that these airport movies were going on. Yeah, give us one more airport movie just to bring me back. I can already feel I've got palpitations. It's reminding me.
Airport 1975, which is the first one.
Okay.
It says the plot concerns the dramatic events aboard an airborne Boeing 747 when a small aircraft crashes into the cockpit, causing the fatalities of the first officer and the flight engineer and the blinding of the captain, leaving no one aboard qualified to take the controls.
So that's what we were...
it does sound a bit fantastical.
I mean, not traumatic at all to be watching that while you're on a flight. So all you need while you're on a flight is just that bit of turbulence, and then you're not going to be thinking, oh my heaven, the captain's gone blind and someone's like. So it was really traumatic.
I once had turbulence. It was maybe a couple years ago, and it was turbulence on a flight, and I was listening to music on my phone, and the song that happened to come on was a song called "Teach Me About Dying." I was shaking about. I thought it was a sign. I'm like, oh no. Thank goodness I lived to tell the tale.
That is scary. Well, the one time, because as I told you, we were on these airplanes heading towards Greece, all excited for our holiday. And because it was the Saheti Express, you couldn't always guarantee that you could get a seat near your parents, which was blissful for me because I didn't want to be near my parents because they smoked.
And you didn't want to be near smoke.
Plus, my mom, please, she had her ideas of, if you think my sister's ideas were a little bit severe as to if you touch your hair, you're flirting, if you giggle, you're flirting. My mom's ideas were, if you speak, you're flirting. If there's a male person next to you, you're flirting. So I didn't want to.
If you breathe the same air, you're flirting.
Exactly. So I didn't want her to accuse me of flirting, and I probably was flirting with a lot of the guys that were in my grade and stuff on this airplane. I guarantee you I was flirting, but I wouldn't want to do it in front of my mom. That would be like, you could do it in front of your mom, and you did it so well. But I don't think I could. You've got a different kind of mom. We'll have the mom discussion at another time. You can tell everyone how awesome I am. But in the meantime,
my awesome mom's accusing me of a lot of things.
Okay, well, let me just tell you what happened. So I was on this flight, and when I initially found my seat was between two, let's call them large body people, overweight as a euphemism. It was a couple, and they both obviously were eating the same kind of food, and they were obviously eating really good food and lots of it because they were both very, very overweight. And what they had done is what a lot of people, we do it these days as well, is it was rows of 3.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 on each side and 4 in the middle. And what they did is they had booked on the side a row of 3, but they booked the window seat and the aisle seat, hoping that the middle seat would be empty.
Yeah, because usually no one wants to book a middle seat.
No one wants to book the middle seat. And then I came along. And so the middle seat was occupied. So we all sat in our seats. And the customary thing that we used to do in those days is you'd sit in your seat until it said you can unfasten your seatbelt.
Yeah.
And then we'd get up and we'd go sit next on the floor with our friends. On the floor, literally.
Okay.
You'd go to where there were people that you couldn't flirt with. You would sit on the floor next to them, like literally on the floor.
Yeah.
Especially the people that were right in front of the movie screen because they had a little bit more room. And you'd sit on the floor, then you'd play card games and you'd giggle and you'd laugh. No flirting. But you would go and do this. And then what I would do is because this friend of mine,
this wealthy friend,
although she had a seat for her in first class. There was first class in those days.
Oh, was it like the first class where there's like no seats, it's just couches?
It was couches. And everyone was sipping champagne. She took me up there a few times because I knew her parents and I would love being her friend because my parents were plebs and her parents were like...
Your poor parents.
Yeah. Well, listen, let me not complain. They were taking us to Greece on holiday. But her parents were going in style. They had their like little cigarettes and their champagne and they were sitting on these couches.
Yeah.
And I loved going upstairs and just looking at all this and thinking, oh, one day I'll do this. I don't even think things like that exist like that anymore.
I don't think so. Maybe on private jets. I don't know.
So on one of these occasions, I had gone up and then I had gone and sat down on the floor with friends. You were even allowed to sleep on the floor in those days. You'd put down a blanket and a pillow. So what happened
and these days, if you do that, you're going to get reprimanded, and 2, you're probably going to get run over by the
trolley.
Cart. Yeah, the snack cart.
Could be beheaded on the one side.
Or, beheaded is a bit dramatic.
Or one of your feet could be amputated on the other side if you're very long.
Yeah, if something's sticking out the side. I once had my head knocked.
No, they do that. They just knock heads, elbows. Anyway, so now what happened is turbulence hit and suddenly the air hostesses took charge. No one fainted. They were in the zone. They brought their A game and they all announced in words that we could actually understand. It wasn't the usual ding, ding like the airport. Exactly. It was words that we could all understand. They said, everybody go back to your seats immediately and fasten your seatbelt.
Yeah.
So
Understandable.
Exactly. So now this is turbulence. The luggage bins above you.
Yeah.
They started opening.
From the turbulence.
bags started falling.
Oh my gosh.
So you'd like be trying to get back to your seat and be dodging these falling bags.
Was there a lot of traffic to get back to your...
There was a lot of traffic because none of the young people were actually sitting in their seat.
Okay.
They were all congregating together. So we were like all scattering in different places. And I kind of got to my seat fairly quickly and realized that these two overweight people that were in my seat, well, they were not. They were sitting on each side of me. Once I had left, they lifted up the armrest and the two of them kind of overflowed into the middle seat. They literally overflowed. So when I looked, you would look at it and think there are only two seats. It didn't look like there was a third seat.
Yeah, that's wild.
So I looked at this and I thought, I don't know what to do. So I went somewhere where I felt was safe and I kind of crouched on the floor, hoping nobody would see me.
Like, was it movie Crouching Dragon, Hidden... You know, the Hidden Tiger, Crouching Dragon?
No, I don't know that movie.
Never mind.
Okay, never mind. And so there I was crouching, hoping nobody would see me. And I got a tap on the shoulder. And this air hostess that said, go to your seat immediately. And I said to her, I can't. And she said, what do you mean? I said,
my seat doesn't exist.
I said, I don't have a seat. And she said, everybody has a seat. Nobody's on this aeroplane if they don't have a seat. And I said, I really don't have a seat. And so she says to me, give me your ticket. So I haul out my boarding pass sheepishly.
How did you have your boarding pass still on you? Was it like a big...
I think I must have had like a moon bag, or I must have had a bag with me, or it's certainly not a bag for my cell phone.
Yeah, because if someone asked me
you know what I think, when I left that seat, I took my hand luggage, kind of whatever it was, because it wasn't a giant bag, and took it with me. Yeah, I used to have things in those days like autograph books.
Yes.
And instead of like getting people to send you messages, what I would do is get all the people I was chatting to sign my autograph book. So I must have had something like that. And so I gave her my ticket and she picks me up practically by the scruff and we march back to my seat and she looks and you can see she's at a loss. And now she's trying to help these people to collect their flubber to make seat for me. And she's pushing it to the side and it's blobbing over again.
Shame for those people as well. There must have been an awkward situation for them.
Awkward situation. I think eventually. But I mean, at this point, the turbulence was going crazy. Her and I were kind of getting to know each other intimately because we kept bumping against each other, me and the air hostess. She was angry, really angry, while trying to put the seat down to get the flubber. Eventually, she actually couldn't get the flubber all together, and she took me, and I went and sat in the air hostess's seat.
Was it cool?
They're very upright. They don't lean back in anywhere. But it was cool to kind of be there with the hustle and bustle. I felt like very, very important. So, I mean, on this flight, I've already been up to first class. I'm now sitting in the air hostess seat. I really felt like a VIP on the plane.
Wow. It kind of sounds a bit like far-fetched, this whole story.
I know, like an airport movie watching the thing, like far-fetched. And yet, every single bit of it is true. I mean, this is the funniest thing. It does. It almost sounds like I made it up.
It does sound a bit made up. It sounds like a bit exaggerated. But I believe you. I mean, these are the kind of things that happen to you.
These kind of things. I mean, that's why we've got this podcast.
Yeah.
If everything I did was believable, there's no point in having a podcast.
Exactly.
And I definitely even have more airplane stories to tell.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I think I should leave those for another time. I think I've shocked everyone enough for this time.
It's going to be like the massage ones. It's going to be a part 2 in the future.
There are quite a few that need a part 2, definitely.
Yeah.
We just don't want to shock everyone altogether. We want to ease them into the podcast. Otherwise they're going to think it's fiction. So I do have a lot of airplane and airport stories to tell.
Well, I look forward to hearing them in the future on this podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been great fun. And I swear to you guys, everything I've said is true.
So,
without even a tiny bit of exaggeration.
What would you say would be the lessons learned?
Lessons learned. Okay, number 1, don't book the middle seat.
Ever.
Ever.
Well, sometimes you can't avoid it.
Okay.
But
do not leave your seat if you're sitting next to people who might occupy it on your behalf.
Don't smoke on airplanes.
Okay, that's a rule now.
Don't watch airplane disaster movies if given the choice because it's scary.
Disaster movies.
And you might be tempting fate.
Don't sit or lie on the floor.
Yeah, during a flight, yeah.
You see, but none of that applies anymore because you can sit quietly. You've got your tiny little earphones that fit in your ear and you can just watch your movie that's in front of you and that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But don't do any of those things anyway, because people have free will. They might still want to do those things.
And keep your seatbelt on.
Buckled the whole time.
The whole time.
And also, you know what I've realized? Is that we've done a lot of podcasts and we kind of filmed the first couple a while before we filmed the rest.
Right.
And we started off saying, let's say what we're grateful for each episode.
Oh, yes.
And then we just forgot.
Okay, so now it's a chance to express some gratitude again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful that we all made it off that very turbulent flight.
Yeah, me too.
Together alive. I'm very grateful that I didn't have to give my bank codes, because that would be dangerous. I give those to Tina. That is truly dangerous. That's worse than an airport disaster.
No.
Yes. Thank goodness I hadn't pressed send yet.
I'm grateful that you survived your previous flights.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm grateful that I get to hear these stories again.
And they're such fun.
They are fun.
And now we can actually laugh about them. At the time, trust me, guys, this was no laughing matter. I think it made even me silent for a bit.
And on that note, I think that's going to be all for this episode.
Sounds good. And look forward to doing another one next week. Thanks, guys.
Fun.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
It's been fun as always.
Bye.
Bye.